Peace, everyone. It's Kasheem here, the 45 Fitness and Strength channel. I'm out here outside my brother's house. As I said in the last video, I'm going to be practicing some of the lifts over at his place because he has a rack and a bar and bench and all that good stuff you need to do actual powerlifting training. So while most of my training is at Planet Fitness, I'm getting to come here maybe once a week or once every other week up until the meet to see where I am and make sure I still know how to do these lifts, because today, this is the first time I've been doing, or I would have done any of these with an actual bar, a free weight squat, free weight bench, free weight deadlift since before coronavirus shut down gyms back in March. So it's been right around 6 months. Today is the 13th, September 13th. I think it was just about 6 months ago that I was last in a normal gym and testing my squat, bench, overhead press, and deadlift. So, about to go inside. We'll see how it goes. This is what I'm talking about. A whole rack, actual bar, actual plates, collars. Back at home. I suppose I should tell you at the outset that there may be clips in which you hear my wife, Kimberly. She's appeared in a previous video. She was there with me. Also, you may see my brother's dog. His dog's name is The Miz. Any of you who are fans of the WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment, in the last, I don't know, dozen years or so, you know who The Miz is. And his catchphrase, if you're not familiar, is that he's The Miz. And he's awesome. My brother and I are big wrestling fans, so when he got his dog, he said his dog was awesome, so he named him The Miz. Anyway, you will see The Miz on camera a couple of times here. This was my very first set of squats in 6 months. Real squats, not Smith machine squats. It's kind of like riding a bicycle, but I was worried that, things were not quite right. They move fast, but I felt unsure with each of these sets that things were correct. Back angle, depth, everything. It came back quickly, but at the outset it just didn't feel quite right. I don't know if there's a such thing as going too deep on a squat. It's better than not going deep enough. But looking at these, I'm wondering if I might need to or want to cut my depth a little bit. I've always squatted pretty deep as is, so this isn't really a departure from normal. But I just want to make the lift as efficient as possible. I don't know if I'm going to have enough practice to do that before the meet, though. But at least I know I won't get red lighted for depth. I ended up doing this 405 again. I felt like I was pitched over just a little too much on that first set. Turns out I shouldn't have, because I ended up banging the rack on this one. It was around this point that the reality of not having walked out or performed a barbell squat in 6 months caught up to me. I just hurt at this point. The weight was moving fine, but I hurt. Like from the middle of my lats down to my waist, it feels like my insides all hurt. I don't know if I've ever felt this before, honestly.
It's been a long time since you've been in the rack.
I guess all the stabilizers people say they don't get work.
Yeah.
When you use the Smith machine. That must be what is all cramping on me at once. Watch out, Miz.
Come here.
They've really stood the test of time. Majestic Rocky Mountains, which must be named after the right. These flying squirrels get together too. Obviously.
easy?
Yes, it did.
Felt like murder.
It looked good.
I mean, moving it didn't feel hard. Holding it feels hard. Ramen?
Yeah.
You must mean like real ramen.
Oh yeah, no, not that one.
As my brother was telling me about the ramen noodles that he and his fiance were going out to eat, I got under the bar for my first set of bench press, actual bench press with any weight on it, in 6 months. And the biggest issue I had with the bench was the rack position. Next time I go over there, I'm going to try putting that rack up at least one spot higher. I don't know why I didn't try it here. I think because I just didn't want to take too long. But that's nowhere near where I'm going to be taking a bench out of the rack at the meet. And my reason for going to my brother's is to try to get some practice close to the way I'm going to be performing at the meet. So I need to try to fix that or make some kind of adjustment next time I go over there. I was also shifting forward and backward on the bench. I was trying to get my head and everything in the right spot so that I would be able to take the bar out of the rack at the right spot without hitting the racks while actually doing the bench. A different camera angle once I got up to 235, and you can still see here I'm not comfortable on the bench. It's not just the width of the bench, it's more so the where I am on the bench. Just not really feeling comfortable or like I'm in the right spot to get the bar out of that rack, especially at such a low height. Eventually I would get handoffs for my last two singles that I did, and my wife really kind of saved the day there, and I think it gave me a much clearer picture of where I am as far as my bench press goes, because those handoffs that you're going to see 2 sets from now, those benches that I got that were handed off felt much better from the jump than any of the ones that preceded it. This 265, this is the first time I did it. It looked or felt so bad. And part of it may be that I was just tired. I'd worn myself out before it. But a big chunk of it, I think, has to be the way I'm taking it out of the rack and not feeling comfortable in that position I'm in, plus a little half rep I have to do to get it fully extended at the beginning. I was pretty discouraged and disappointed at this set. I was like, 265, man, I suck. My bench is always bad anyway. But I didn't think my wife actually was going to be able to hand that off. She used to hand off to me all the time. If you haven't seen any of my videos from the last couple of months in which we kind of talked about her story a bit, my wife had a stroke back in January of 2017, and she's just started going to the gym again in June when we both joined Planet Fitness. She's made a lot of progress really fast. So, I was really glad she was able to do this. Not just because it made these benches go a lot better. As I think you see, this 275 looks better than that first 265 that I did. But also it's encouraging to know that, she's just making progress and getting stronger, able to get back to some of the quality of life she had before that stroke. She used to compete in powerlifting also. I really don't remember what I was looking at here before the start of this pull. I started with 225. I do remember thinking, though, don't mess up my brother's floors. He has a thin mat there for grip, for footing and for the bench, and also a little bit of protection for the floors from deadlifts. But I knew I wasn't going to be dropping the bar or doing any fast, negatives like you can do in a meet. So maybe that's what was on my mind, just kind of looking to make sure the mat was underneath the plate. So I wouldn't mess it up. But anyway, the deadlifts didn't feel weird, but they just got real heavy real fast. Since I've been at Planet Fitness, the deadlifts that I've been doing on the Smith machine have generally been done in sets of multiple reps. That's a departure from the way I normally train deadlifts in the last several years. My good friend and powerlifting mentor, Matt Gary, and his wife, Susie Hartwig Gary, they have been big influences on me as far as kind of my technique with lifting and just general mindset about meat preparation and meat attempt selection and things like that. But also with respect to deadlifts, they're big proponents of training deadlifts as singles, sets of one. And I pretty much roll with that for most of my deadlift training. I haven't been doing that at Planet Fitness because I haven't been, quote unquote, doing deadlifts. I've been doing Smith machine deadlifts. So here I started getting back to that a bit, but honestly, at this point, we'd been there a couple of hours. We live more than an hour away. I was just trying to wrap things up. So that's why I, kind of threw these cluster sets together and just kind of rushed it a little bit here at the end with the deadlifts. On our next visit, what I think we'll do is take our children with us. They were at my mother's house on this trip, but that will save a lot of time on our commute to his house and home. That's a stop we won't have to make, not just a stop, but a detour we won't have to make on both ends of the trip. They can play the virtual reality and other video games he has there. They'll be happy with that. And hopefully I won't feel as rushed and I can spend some more time on deadlifts. And not only that, now that I have some data and an actual baseline on all the lifts, I can plan my progressions up to my heaviest singles a lot better than I did this go around, and just generally have a more time efficient session on my next visit. All in all, things could have been worse, but I'm a long way from where I was 6 months ago, where I squatted 500, benched 300, pulled 530. This 455 was the best deadlift I could do, and this was just heavy. So I got a long way to go. So I have 8 weeks left to not embarrass myself on the platform. If you think I have a chance to pull it off, let me know. If you think this is a ridiculous idea, let me know that also. But thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give me a thumbs up, like the video. Thanks a lot.